Back in studio with Brigadier General in the Reserve, Relik Shafir. So clearly, despite the fact that there are some kind of conversations in Cairo, this operation is still ongoing. Obviously, a few weeks ago, there was the threat if we don't get something by Ramadan, we're going to deal with Rafah. Where does this stand? Again, since from a military perspective, it looks like nothing miraculous is going to happen by March 10th when Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan, begins.
Yes, and perhaps we Israelis have made an error by not starting off in Rafah, because the masses of civilians who have fled to Rafah, we're talking about 1.3 million people in a very small area, makes it very difficult to chase Hamas in their tunnels in that area with air support and the tanks, because a lot of them would be hit. And Israel, the last thing that Israel wants is a massive civilian casualty. So how do you get into those places without moving all the civilians away? And those civilians have been displaced once already. So it's not just a PR question. It's a great logistic question. If you do that, you have to feed them all. You have to take care of their medical needs, and that puts Israel in a very uncomfortable position because it hasn't offered anything else. So it's a kind of a dead end, and it meets with resistance with the United States and Britain, and obviously the moderate Arab countries. So it's almost a can't-do situation.
So where does it stand now? With Israel and the Prime Minister promising we're going to deal with this refugee crisis, this is already several weeks now. So where does it stand now with those 1.3 million people who are
I think where it stands is that words that were not followed by deeds had reached a dead end. So he has lost his credibility in the sense that not only that it is doable, but is he able to plan ahead? And some of his compatriots, so to speak, have lost faith in the fact that he knows where he's going, and that creates a kind of a breach of trust with a lot of people in the Israeli public who want to win this war and are behind the Prime Minister's call for victory, but they see that the military is doing his job, but the politicians and leaders have not provided a vision, and the day after, where do you want the military to be? So we're in an internal crisis,
right? Not
just an external.
Does that not having a day after, does that impact the morale even with people within the military? Like, is that an important element for those that are on the ground right now dealing with the present
I don't
war?
think so. I think, when you go into war and you're a part of a team that goes into war, you don't deal that much. It's the same person who might be out on the street as a civilian. Once he's clad in a military clothing and the military spirit, the mindset changes, and you're going to do your battles, and you don't censure the politicians that much.
Right.
But the day after, when you go back home, you exchange. You adjust
in your
that,
life, right?
And that is, I would say, the upside is that the military is ready to do its job, but the public is losing faith. It's not support; it's losing faith that the leaders know where they're going.
Better for the soldiers themselves to be insulated from that also, so it doesn't affect their getting the job done. Let's talk about also the IDF launching an internal probe into missteps. Leading up to October 7th, we've heard a lot of reports over the past 5 months. So why did it take so long?
I think the leaders of the military wanted a distance in time from the major fighting that has now kind of died down into small skirmishes, both in Gaza and in the north. And they can't wait any longer, because the soldiers themselves want to know what happened, and they need to understand how we got to a position where we had such a catastrophic failure. And the chief of staff, he's a very credible person. He stands behind his words. and he said we're going to deal with it after the fighting. Now it's after the fighting, and now it's time to deal for this. He's already taken responsibility. Other officers have also done so. And I think most people expect, yes, we want to understand how we got to this.
Yes. We all are still.
And in order for the people, not just the militaries, the civilians, to have a trust in the military, they want to see the military leaders not only say that they're taking responsibility, but show how they're taking it. And they will have to take the, I would say, the heat that will come out of whatever debriefing will take place. And we know that the chief of staff and the officers who from the intelligence who are responsible for this will go home dignified. They will go home.
All right, to be continued on that. I'm sure that's going to be another long process. There's a lot to investigate. I'm sure a lot will come out of this process. All right, thank you. We'll be back in a second.